Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC and with me is.
Wolf.
And we're continuing our Shira marathon today with seasons 2 and 3 of Shira and the Princesses of Power on Netflix. And if you're asking, but wait, why are you doing two seasons in this episode? Well, to those who don't watch the show, allow us to fill the gap. Seasons 2 and 3 were originally supposed to be one big season, and you can kind of tell because season 2 only has 7 episodes and season 3 only has 6. Together,
Mm-hmm.
they make 13, which is the length of season 1 and the eventual season 4. So we just said, you know what, let's talk about season 2 and 3 together because it also makes a bit more sense in ways we will find out as we go on.
Yes.
But but what did you think about seasons 2 and 3? No, not spoilers. We're not
Um,
talking about spoilers yet.
just general thoughts. I think season two was a lot of setup for season three and what goes on within it, right? And I think it's good setup. Don't get me wrong, but I do think like season two is very much used as setup for season three and everything that goes on in it. And then going into season three, like season three is our big what I feel are character moments, like just seeing how different things happen to different characters like Adora and Catra. Season three is definitely like that's the episode where we finally get some answers on things and a bit more find out a bit more about the world and just have our character big character moments after a lot of the setup from season two.
Yeah, I agree that season 2 does feel like a lot of setup, and even if the setup is not necessarily bad, at one point I'm like, okay, let's get a move on, please. And season 3, I would say, is probably my favorite of the bunch so far.
You thought season two
Um,
dragged?
yeah, I would say that, remember how I said that season 2 has 7 episodes and season 3 had 6?
Five,
I think
right?
I think the I maybe
Yes.
I would have thought the opposite if it was the other way around.
That's fair.
But still an enjoyable show, and
Oh
it
sure.
does pick up. It does pick up, and it does have a lot of. Season 2 still has a few moments in it that I actually really like, which
Mm-hmm.
come into play in the future seasons as well. So, without further ado, should we get into spoilers?
Sure.
Something to think. This season 2 only came out at the end of April. Like this is
Yeah.
not that. This is not that long ago. I'm
No,
actually
it's not.
surprised.
Wow, they've been getting these out very fast. Like season three was early August, and season four was early November.
Yeah, like
Hopefully, season five comes out very quickly and
yeah.
that
Actually,
keeps up the thing.
on that note, the creators have actually hinted that they might split season 5 into two, like they did with seasons 2 and 3. Like we'll get a 5 and 6, and
I
not
mean,
just a big 5. But I'm not
that's
sure about
fair,
this.
but I mean, if they keep up with this schedule, we might get.
By the I think by the end of 2020 we'll get the
I
entire
mean,
show.
yeah, if they keep up with this schedule, we might get season five in like February or March, maybe, or March or April at least. Anyways, wow,
So
that's
without
happened.
I guess you can say I guess we have no time to waste. So
Hmm.
let's go. Spoilers from this point onward.
Mm-hmm.
Still here, so let's do this. Season 2, episode 1, The Frozen Forest. So this is the aftermath of the season 1, of the season 1 finale.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Princess Alliance trying to protect Ateria from the Horde. Yeah, man, in chapter is still working for the Horde. Although the princesses don't know it yet,
Yeah.
this is still something that they think she's dead, but
Mm-hmm.
she's actually working for the Horde because she thinks the Princesses Alliance abandoned her. And you know, and as Atlanta works for the Horde, they found out that you know they she develops a type of bots that use the first one's technology, and that causes problems too for our heroes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you have nothing to say about this.
I mean, it's this first episode is like you said. It's kind of like we're getting back into things after the aftermath of the final battle of Bright. Of the finale of the first season, the Battle of Bright Moon, and
Which I think after a finale like this episode is needed.
oh sure, right, like
I
it's
always like that a season starts with like an episode that gets you back into the feeling of the show before they start throwing all the extra shit on you.
and it does kind of show us that both sides are hurting somewhat, right? Like the
Hmm.
hordes, not able, like the princesses and the rebellion are definitely been pushed back, and they're desperately trying to hold on to the woods, the Whispering Woods, I think it's called. Is that it? Yeah, the Whispering
Hmm.
Woods. They're still trying
Yeah.
to restore and hold on to the Whispering Woods, and the hordes trying to push in and take it while the woods are still frozen. So you see, like, both sides suffered from the Battle of Bright Moon, right? Like the horde lost heavily, but also so did the rebellion. So you can
Hmm.
see, this episode is kind of showing like this is both sides back and forth a little bit, and eventually at the end of this one, we see the princesses win and the Whispering Woods are restored, so the horde loses out. And we
Yeah,
finally figured
and
out
but
that the princess, the rebellion figures out that Entrapta is working for the horde,
mhm. Yep, and that
though
is
they
true.
think she's doing so unwillingly, not willingly.
Exactly.
Um,
So
my
aside,
personal favorite moments from this one, I would say, were definitely Swiftwind in the meeting, like asking about getting a horse and involving more horses in the meeting. Because why
yeah.
not? I love Swiftwind. I think Swiftwind definitely grew on me a bit for this season,
Mhm.
right? Because you see a bit more of him in this
Um,
season.
he has his moments.
He definitely his comedic, being that comedic side character, he definitely grew on me a bit more in this season since they use him a bit more in it.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree that in the first season I cared for him less. In this one, I think it's also good that he has people to play off of,
Yeah,
and
where
so
he can go
then
back
so
and forth
that's
with
fun.
Adora or Glimmer and the others, he can definitely do a lot better.
Hmm. But yeah, fine introduction episode. If we don't have anything to say, should we move on to episode two?
The only other thing I would say is, and I know it was the point, but Frosta definitely wore thin this episode.
Hmm. Besides, I think Foster really shines in this.
You think so?
Actually, no, not. Yeah, the entire princess is actually kind of shining this season,
Oh,
and
agreed.
we'll get to why in a later episode.
Like all
People
of them
who watch
definitely
the show.
come back and do way better. But in this episode, their dynamic kind of wore a little bit thin because everyone's fighting. It's like, we've kind of been through this already. It'd be nice to not go through it again. But this is their first time this is their first or second major time really working together and figuring out how they work together and all that. So it's a little understandable.
Yeah, and you can also kind of tell that they don't have a leader to coordinate them yet. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone is so while they're working together, it's still each one is out for him, each one is out for herself, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
With that said, episode two, ties that bind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so this episode kind of splits into two. There's Adoa and Swiftwind trying to work together, and there's Glimmer and the princesses trying to free Entrapta from the hold. I will say that I enjoyed the Adora and Swiftwind plot, but the rescue mission is good, but I don't think it's as good as you know Shira and her host actually bonding and trying to figure out each other.
Personally, I liked because in that rescue mission they end up capture like Glimmer and Bo do, right, and they try and take Catra prisoner. I personally enjoyed that dynamic a lot more.
Mhm.
like the back and forth between Catra and Glimmer and Bow, and just seeing Catra be put in the exact same position Adora was in, and Glimmer and Bow still being really, really bad at capturing people and escorting them back to Bright Moon and all of that. Really, really
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah, that and something. I think that that's one of the reasons why I kind of about this part of the episode, because how much can you show me that the heroes are bad at something? Like, I get it, they're not fully trained in it, but at the same time, come on, you show them being competent at other situations. So why is this?
I don't know. I enjoyed the playfulness of it all. Like, and it makes sense that
No,
Bow and Glimmer are
don't
bad
get
at
me wrong.
prisoners.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There are highlights in this, but at the same time, it's like, okay, these two have fought the Horde before. These two have done some things before and came out okay. I think they can handle Catra with and but Catra does sassing them around is obviously a highlight. Like I said,
Hmm.
Catra is a great character, so
Agreed.
she's always fun. And
It definitely, I think it's more of Catra's time to shine in that moment than it is Bow and Glimmer's.
yeah, and because um, I'm not sure how much it starts in this episode, but I think this is the episode which shows that Catra does rely on Scopia, and their connection starts to grow a bit,
Hmm.
and also revealing to Bo and Glimmer that Entrapta is working for the Horde on her own will, on her own will, and they're not really torturing her to do so. It is also kind of like, this is a big hit to take.
Hmm. I mean, again, it. This is why I say season two is a lot of setup, right? Because again, like you just said, it sets up Catra and Scorpia growing closer together as time moves forward. This is not necessarily the start of that, but this is definitely building more to that, and this helps out a lot in that regard. It builds up to finding out Entrapped is just working for the Horde willingly. It
Mhm.
builds up more of Catra's very much how she plays with people, right? And their feelings and emotions, right? And how she preys on that somewhat. It builds that up.
Yeah.
It builds and how again, a lot of setup, good setup, mind, but a lot of setup this season
Mhm.
for payoffs that
Like,
come in season 3 and season 4.
and the other side of the episode with Adora and Swiftwind, that also kind of sets up the entire, Adora trying to prove herself to the, to, you know, what's her name? I forgot. Light Hope.
Yes, Light Hope.
Okay, so she's trying to prove herself to that, and also does trying to connect with Sweetwind, which is hard for her because he's a completely different personality than she is, and it is kind of something she needs to learn if she wants to save the world, which is to get along with people who are different from her. Even though Swiftwind is not necessarily people, he's a horse, but still.
It it also, it kind of continues to set up that Mara as evil as, the previous Shira, like that she did bad, she was horrible at it. We continue to follow that line, right, which I really enjoy, and really comes into
This
play in
this
season 3.
this however yeah this however becomes more permanent as in the later episodes
Because we're
than
just
this one.
seeing, like, because this episode we see, like, Mara destroyed this other beacon through what she did as the previous Shira. Like, we're kind of seeing those effects of what she did and what happened in the past, and how Adora's
Yes.
having to go back and fix that. It's really interesting stuff.
Mhm. And all of this leads us to episode 3, Signals.
Hmm. This is our
This,
Halloween episode, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
kinda, I guess. But the one thing that we are starting to see a bit is that Hordak is trying to get a bit fed up with Katra after
Hmm.
after season 1, where he was he gave her power, he gave her position, he gave her the important stuff to do, and in here you can tell that he's kind of okay. Um, Come your tits, lady. You're failing me so far,
Hmm.
and But it also, shows us that, Entrapta finds his lab, and you know, and after she actually manages to fix some of his experiments, he starts seeing something in her, and suddenly she's not just a tool, and that's another seed that this season plans, which is Hordak and Entrapta are actually developing a close friendship together, which is something I really like. This is not something that every show does, where a betrayed good guy develops a legit friendship with the main bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
Uh,
find it interesting, right? Because Entrapped is here willingly because she feels like her old friends abandoned her, right? And she only feels that way because of Catra and how Catra
yes,
played with her, right? And I love how they continually show like how there's a moment in here where Catra runs up and said and grabs Entrapta's shirt and like really threateningly tells her, right, like stay away from Hordak, don't do this, and you just have
yes,
this moment of Entrapta being like, I thought we were friends. What you doing? It's very, surreal. Like you kind of see that a bit of Catra come out that technically cares about Entrapta, but is also very forceful in how she cares. Maybe.
yeah, and because that leads us to another point of the episode that I think at this point Katra starts feeling what Shadow Weaver kind of felt when in the previous season when Katra kind of upstage her. Suddenly there's someone upstaging her like
Mm-hmm.
Adora did, and that set something in her mind that I need to do better or get rid of that
Well,
obstacle.
it's very much like I don't think it was the problem with Catra was that Adora did better than her. Is that
Hmm.
someone is getting acknowledged and she's not? Like Entrapta was to Hordak very much an equal, or Entrapta
Hmm.
started to be seen as an equal, as a partner,
Yeah, like
and Catra wasn't
she
given that, right? And that's what
yeah, she
Catra
jumped.
values most.
She got a massive promotion without even trying.
And that's what really bothers Catra the most, that she gets cast aside and isn't seen as an equal, because that's what her character wants. That's her driving force, to be seen as an equal. That's why she was so close with Adora, because Adora saw her that way.
Hmm.
Everyone else, again, like I talked about in season one, like everyone else saw Catra as Adora's pet, but that's not how Adora saw Catra. And that's why Catra is willing to put up with so much, because of Adora.
Hmm.
And without Adora around any longer, she's no longer willing to put up with that, which is very much good for Catra. She did need that. Unfortunately, it means that we see Catra start to travel down some very dark paths in terms of how she may have been treated, but the choices she's made, right? Like, make no mistake,
Hmm.
Shadow Weaver definitely abused Catra and Adora, but that doesn't excuse Catra's behavior at all. And that's something you have to be
No.
very clear about, right?
And this is something I praised back in season one also, that there isn't really black and white here. Even if you like
Mm.
a character and and even if you get what the character is going through and why they're doing something, you can still point out that they are flawed, but at the same
Mm.
time these are flaws that you can understand, flaws you can relate. And it's not like, oh come on, why is this character doing this, like a lot of shows lately actually caused me to say, like,
Mm-hmm.
I get behind why she's doing this stuff even if it's questionable.
Absolutely. And it's also great because you see these flaws in not just the villains, but also the heroes as well. Like
Exactly.
we talked
Like,
about
this
before,
is.
right? Like Adora and how she sees the Horde and how she just casts off like a lot of her old friends within the Horde as being evil, right? Because she sees things in such a black and white, only two sides manner, right? And it really
Yes.
they like that being one of her major flaws in how she sees things. It really helps to sell the character more.
Mhm. So on that note,
But back
and
to this episode
speaking.
specifically.
Yeah, but and going back, and since we mentioned Adora, Glimmer, Bow, and our heroes, when you say Halloween episodes, you probably mean all the holographic recordings that attack them.
Oh, quote unquote attack. More like they attack them. The holographic recordings are
Yeah,
just there.
yeah, but still, you probably mean this with Halloween episode
Yeah,
in
it's definitely
April.
like meant to be, kind of the scary episode, right? Where this is
Mhm.
like, you have Adora telling a whole bunch of different ghost stories, and I love the fact that every single one of her ghost stories that she was told in the Horde has to do with evil princesses and undead princesses and ghostly princesses, and I love the fact
Yeah,
that Bo points
the
out sort of a theme with the Horde with you guys, isn't it? And Adora's like, wow,
yeah,
I never noticed before.
yeah,
That one got me.
it's yeah, it is funny that she never actually considered it before, but at the same time, it also kind of makes sense because they were in the hold
Oh
from
yeah,
childhood basically.
like they were very much
So
kind of brainwashed, if you will, right?
yeah, so if you want to brainwash someone to not follow the princesses, what are you gonna do? You tell them scary story about the princesses and how
About
they're
all of the
terrifying.
prince. Yes, agreed.
This, which it is funny, but at the same time, it also kind of makes sense
Yeah,
when you really think about it.
it makes a ton of sense. But I just found it funny that Bo called her out for it, and she immediately says, "Wow, you're right. I never realized." Like I just found that funny. Like that just it works.
Actually, and that but the other thing I like about that joke is when she says, I never thought about that. It also kind of make you realize because one would cynical people might think, well, if she grew up to fear the princesses, she must have known that Shira, what Shira sold looks like. Does she wouldn't have touched it? But then when that one line it kind of tells you, yeah, maybe she just didn't give it any thought to these stories when she found the sword.
I think
So yeah.
She-Ra was definitely more of a myth to the rebellion. Like they remembered her and who she was, but no one, but the Horde had no clue or little clue at all because She-Ra wasn't even
So
around when
like
the Horde first came through.
so basically the conclusion is that for Adora, Catra, and all of these old people as kids, She-Ra was basically the Flying Dutchman in SpongeBob. That's basically what it was.
Sure, we'll go with that. That works.
Yeah. Okay. Because yeah, sure. I like my analogies. So anything else about episode three except for yeah, again it's still set up, but I like the setup. I like these build ups.
Yeah, again, like we have set up at the very ending of this episode with a message from a lost shipwreck potentially, but a
Yeah.
message. We don't really learn that it's from a
Yeah, we know
lost ship, but
there's
we just know it's
this
a
and
message.
yeah, and this is something that we'll be back to
Mm-hmm.
later.
Yes, as
Uh,
said, set up.
but that said, episode 4, roll with it. And I'll say this as much as I say I enjoy the setup and I like the setup, at this point, I was starting to get a bit, don't want to say annoyed, but at this point, it was like, okay, I get the setup, but we'll basically have a season done, and we still didn't really accomplish anything. We're just building it up. So
So
do you mind to hit the gas a bit? And this episode, while it's fun seeing the princesses trying to, coordinate a strategy and to, give a shout out to a friend of mine. I will call him N. And if you'll listen to this, Sira is great, and it's definitely to become a spin-off. DreamWorks makes Sira a spin-off for my friend N, please.
fair enough. Sira is great.
But but
We also get
at this
the
point,
reference to the old, She-Ra cartoon as well with Bo's, plan.
yeah.
But
This is something I like that and shows have done this that they're trying to coordinate an attack and the attacks are and they plan are presented in like kind of different styles or different situations with characters acting a bit differently as to how the other characters see them. That's fine. I have no problem with this, and it's honestly a fun episode for this.
mhm.
But it's like I've done so much with the setup at this point that I could have actually used an attack by this point.
I mean, they did attack it eventually in this episode. Like we did get that, but I can, with this episode, I can see where you come from when you say like the season started to wear a bit thin, right? That you feel like it was dragging because this episode definitely it wasn't inherently needed. This was very much, if you want to call it like, quote unquote filler, like this is that episode. But I think it's filler with a purpose still, because it still shows just how
Oh no,
much.
it has no. It has purpose. I'm not saying it's not.
Oh sure,
It's
again.
but at this point, maybe maybe if like you change an episode order here and there, maybe I would have liked it a bit more.
Fair
But
enough. I mean, for
four but
me,
four episodes in a row, nothing big actually happens. It's like, let's get a move on. The season is really short, so let's move
that's
on.
what I call season two the setup season, and I'd love to hear it because I watched this all in one go. Right? I would love to hear. Did you watch it all in one go, or did you watch it season
Yes.
two and then waited for season three?
I watched it on one go. Like
I would.
the only season I watched like as it premiered is four.
Okay, yeah, same as me. Not quite. I watched season four a little bit after it premiered,
Still,
but I was very
you came
close.
into it as a you came into it well. Still considered spoilers to talk about what happens in the end.
But for me, I would love to hear from someone who had to sit down and watch season two and then wait, for the time difference. I think it's 3 months or so for season three to come out, because season two, in my opinion, as I said, is a lot of setup but no real major payoff.
And we will get to something I have to say about this
Mm.
when we,
So I
in a
would
few
love to,
episodes.
to those in the comments, right? Chime in on season two. What was, if you had to watch that and then wait for season three's release in August after watching it in season two in April? I'd love to hear, what did you feel about that? 3 month, I think, or 2 month wait, just about.
Yeah, it's 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah, what did you feel about that? Like, how did that make you feel? Was that something you thought was good or bad? Because I can imagine a lot of people weren't too happy with that. But then
I
again,
would
maybe
love to
viewers are
ask.
fine.
I would have loved to ask the friend who introduced me into Shira about this,
Mm,
but I think she watched the first three seasons in a row, so
mm,
I'm not sure.
fair enough. But
But
speaking on roll with it itself exactly, the episode is basically just kind of the D&D episode where they have all their different plans that they're making, and they're using different, like, figures of themselves, or D&D figures. Like, I love the D&D references in this episode. It's a lot of fun, and how they're all taking it as a game, but you have Adora taking it extremely seriously and being very hard on herself to make sure that she's able to stop Catra, because I think it's
which
great that.
which it makes sense because she knows the horde. She grew up in the horde, and they last trapped her to the horde. So
Well,
she knows what they're dealing with, and
it's
she
not so
wants to
much the
stop
horde
it.
though that she's worried about. It's mostly Catra, and I think that's great because it shows like just how much Adora not so much fears Catra but does respect her, right? Like, she knows Catra is the one who can do the most damage. Like, she definitely still, even now, even though they're enemies, views Catra as that equal, right? Which is really
Hmm.
good to see, because you can still see that that relationship still has an effect on her, right?
Exactly.
On both of them, really.
Hmm.
It's funny how both of them are essentially using their respective sides to get at each other in a way. Really, it's just relationship problems, the show, but let's just start a
Yeah.
war to solve our relationship problems. That's what this is.
To be to be
Well,
to be
let's help
honest,
finish a war to solve our relationship problems.
I saw relationships that ended in bigger wars than this, but that's
Yeah,
not
but this is a
for
war that
this.
involves other people, though.
Who said the one I witnessed wasn't?
Fair, fair.
Wolf, let me tell you something. Elementary school was hardcore, something, but
Jesus.
that's another
If that's
story.
what you're doing with elementary school, I would hate to see high school. But anyways,
Oh boy, dude. Oh boy.
um,
You know something. Remind me to tell you something after recording because this
oh no,
I don't like they.
oh
Shit
dear.
gets real in high school, dude.
I've been
Shit
there,
gets
I
real.
know, but oh dear and oh no. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I could definitely
We'll
see.
talk about this later. But back to Shiva.
Fair enough. I could definitely see episode four like it being hit or miss with people because it's mostly just kind of a reference filled episode and just
Although
the
again,
creators
it's a
having
fun episode.
fun. It's
Yeah.
fun, but I could definitely see it being hit or miss with people and them wanting something more. I do like that
Mhm.
we get to see more of squad, catcher, I guess you'd call them, with Kyle and
Yeah,
Rogelio and I cannot remember the girl's name.
the same. I'm amazed you remember these many names. Like
I like
I lost it
Rogelio
on the
stands
capture.
out just because he's like, you know, unique in a way, I suppose, because you see him and he's a lizard person and he's very unique. Again,
Hmm.
he's just unique compared to many of the other characters. I gotta find out her name. I'm going to feel bad if I don't. So have at it. Your go.
Okay, so while you search for a name, I'm moving on for episode 5, Wipeout. And speaking of setups, I think this I think if I recall correctly, it's been a while. This is the episode where you can you start seeing Scopia trying to get closer to Catra, which is wholesome beyond all belief. And Scopia is amazing, and she deserves better than what Catra gives her, if I may say so myself.
Yes, agreed.
Um, Glad we agree. But Catra and Chapter and Scopia. Notice something with these names. All of them end in A. Does the whole dictionary has something with names
Lonnie.
ending in A?
It's Lonnie.
Lani. Okay. She was born on an off day. But anyways, I'm going to look for first one's technology, and I think is this the one where we actually find out that Adora is actually an ancient one?
All right, so we're talking about episode 5.
Yes.
No, this is not the one where we find out Adora is a first one.
So I'm kind of confused, and that's what something apparently.
Whiteout is the
But
episode where we have, again, Seahawk, my favorite character, comes back, and I love his back and forth with Scorpia here, where they just have a talk with one another and talk about how, like,
yeah.
they should be more there for their friends, and their friends should respect them more and be there for them as well, and see them for the worth that they have and all that. Like, that's just great. Like,
Yeah.
Seahawk and Scorpia just get along so well, and it's great. I love that.
Hmm. Again, this is something that's nice to see that because Seahawk is one of the good guys and Scorpio is one of the bad guys. So it is nice to see characters from both sides just chill, have fun, and actually connect over something.
And this one, this one brings back the virus disc, which again infects Adora as well as some giant worms that start attacking them. And you do end up having to see, like, all of them, even Catcher included, have to work together. Even though Catra's against it
Mhm.
and doesn't want to destroy the virus disc, Scorpia does because she wants to, keep Catra safe, right? And she does so
Yep.
to protect Catra and to say, hey, you're in danger, you don't realize it, so I'm going to help you. You're going to get mad at me for it, but oh well, like, it's for the best. Which is nice, right?
Hmm.
It's nice to see, like,
Yep.
you have this moment of Catra doesn't realize how far she's pushing herself. Those around her do, though, and they're trying desperately, like Scorpia, anyways, is trying to say, "Hey, you're pushing too far." Like, it's a nice moment.
Hmm.
There's a lot of
Yep,
good.
I agree.
It's definitely more of that kind of filler episode, and but it's still some good character moments here.
Hmm.
And with some stuff kind of happening, nothing major, but some stuff is happening, and characters are doing things. We have those character moments, and again, Seahawk and Scorpia together was great, and seeing Loopy Adora again was also enjoyable.
Yeah, it's always fun seeing drunk versions of the characters. That's always fun.
Agreed.
For the honor of Grayskull.
Mm.
This is this is in a based on what I remember, and is not a direct copy. Anyway, moving on to episode 6, the light spell.
This was great. I think this was definitely one of the best episodes of season two, right?
Most likely because this is the episode where things get going. You know?
Yeah, this is true. Like, this is the episode where we really get set up for season. This is the definite setup for season three. But this is the episode of Shadow Weaver's past as Light Spinner before she became
Yeah,
Shadow Weaver.
this, again, these kind of episodes, um, I either really like or really hate because sometimes whenever you find out like backstory, that could change your entire perspective of the character, and it could either ruin that character or make it more interesting, or make the character more interesting. I think in this specific case, it made Shadow Weaver a hell of a lot more interesting.
I don't think it changed too much about her, but I definitely it didn't hurt her at all,
Which
right?
is what makes it interesting because it doesn't make you look at her any differently. You
This
just
is fair.
know what led her to this situation. This is just on the heels of another conversation about this, which we might do an episode about in the future. I don't know, but
Ooh.
the thing is that you learn what how she came to be what she is now, what
Mm-hmm.
she was in the past, and that she was actually the teacher of
Of
Grimmel's father.
Micah. Yep.
Mhm.
And we see that
And
the reason Shadow Weaver is what she is now is because she pursued trying to gain more power through dark magic so they could beat the Horde, which is interesting.
mhm.
And during all of this, we have like this is Shadow Weaver flashing back, but during all this, we have um Catra still really wanting to connect with Shadow Weaver and still feeling for Shadow Weaver even after what how Shadow Weaver treated her in the past.
Which again is interesting because even though Shadow Weaver kind of always you know dismissed her, Shadow Weaver is still kind of the closest thing she has when you really think about it.
Shadow
So
Weaver's the
it
closest thing
may
she had to what now?
a mother,
Yeah, I
a
thought, but you
parent.
broke up. I just wanted to make sure. But yes,
Oh,
agreed.
okay.
Yeah,
Like this is the closest to a parent she ever had. So even if she doesn't necessarily support what Shadow Weaver's done to her over the years, she still feels something for her, which is a human emotion.
well,
So
it shows that Catra still wants that acceptance. She still wants to be viewed as an equal, and she wants people to see her for what she's worth. And Shadow
mhm.
Weaver, now that Adora is gone, is maybe the only person who can give that to her since Hordak isn't doing so. But even
Yep.
Shadow Weaver doesn't do that, right?
Mhm.
Shadow Weaver just once again uses her. Which is, man, seeing that
Indeed.
scene at the end with Catra finding out that Shadow Weaver is gone and just how hurt she is by it. That was rough.
Mhm.
That was
Yep.
that was strong. Like, I didn't, looking at the rest of this season and watching the first five episodes, I didn't expect to get this kind of episode mixed in at
Yeah,
the
and all of a
end.
sudden you get this like shocks you. This is the bam.
Mhm. But I think that works. I think we had a lot of, good character stuff and set up for the future seasons, but nothing really major going on. All of a sudden, hey, here you go. Here's some major backstory for backstory for Shadow Weaver, which all right, fair enough. But then we turn it into like, hey, here's some heavy emotions for Catra. Oof.
Yeah. Big oof indeed.
But
But then after this big episode, which leaves you with a lot of feelings and questions and a will to find out what's going on next, we get the season finale, episode 7 reunion. As a season finale and as a follow up to the previous episode, this was such a disappointment.
you think so? It's definitely slower. There's not a lot going on for it. But again, like this is why I think season two is very much set up right for what
Mhm.
happens next because season three continues on, and I think season three is way more powerful than season two.
Yeah. Okay, let me just rephrase. The episode in itself is not bad
Mm-hmm.
at all. And there are actually a few moments that I like, which we will get to later. But when you follow up from episode 6 from Light Spinners, which was such a heavy episode for Catra and with the Shadow Weaver's backstory and everything, and then all of a sudden you get to this, which is basically a filler episode again. And this is the episode the season leaves on. Like after this, you had to wait until the next season. I didn't experience that wait, but I can tell you that this is what I was left with until for a few months. I would be disappointed.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the weaknesses of splitting these things up because how do you split it up properly, right? There's no real way to do that. Maybe if you had season three's episode one as the finale to season two, it would have worked a
Oh,
little
you
better.
know something? You know something? I would disagree here, and I'll say that maybe ending on Light Spinners could have been a better finale.
And then going into
Like,
season three
and
with
then
episode
and the,
seven.
yeah, because that would actually be that light setup, the thing that you need to get back into the spirit of the show before the real hitters begin.
That would have been good too, and it would have given both season. I mean, and it. Yeah, I agree. Like one of those two things, at least, right? Whether it be ending season two with season three's episode one, or ending season two with episode six Light Spinner, and then going into season three with episode seven Reunion as season three's first episode. One of those two ways, I agree. Definitely, probably would have given a better feeling and left a better taste in people's mouth because this episode is definitely a weak season finale, and this is definitely I think is more than likely one of the weaknesses of splitting your 13 episode season into two. There's strengths to doing so,
With
but there's
yeah,
also weaknesses.
with that said, though,
Looking
and
at this
there's
episode
something.
on its own though, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, with all that said, the episode itself is not bad. Like I enjoyed it,
And Bo's dads are
and
great.
yeah. So for one, I do like the idea that Bo has two dads, and they don't really bring too much focus into it. And it's like, oh, we're progressive. No, he just has two dads
Mm-hmm.
who do, and it does look like they actually have, all of them actually love each other, and I just like it that it's there. There's no need to really pay much attention other than the fact that he has two dads.
I
Fine.
love the fact that they're not perfect parents either, right? Like they're still,
Yeah,
like
and
any
that's the
parent, they're
other.
bad at it, and it's you have this, like it's very much if they would have talked, if Bo would have talked with them, and if they would have talked with Bo, they could have solved these problems. But again, like communication that's hard for parents and kids, for everyone really. So again, I like that, and I like the fact that at the end of this, like Bo's dads do say like, "Hey, we support you no matter what," you know
Mhm.
and we're sorry that we
And
gave
that's
the impression that we wouldn't do so.
that's actually there's a funny part in that actually got a chuckle out of me. Well, he when Adora and Glimmer go look for Bo because it seems suspicious, and then all of a sudden they found out he actually has a home and parents and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he introduces Glimmer and Adora as colleagues
Yeah, as
from the school
yep.
from the school he apparently goes to, and then like every time the dads find out something new about Adora, it's like, oh, she also made just that. Oh, she also made just that. Oh, she also made just that. And then when she transforms to Shira, he's like, she's also majoring Shira. So wouldn't it be awesome if you majored about a person and turned
Mm,
into it? That actually got a chuckle out of me. I like it.
she's really deep into that cosplay and character art and character performance. I love the fact that you have Adora who has no idea what college is or anything of the sort, trying to talk about college things and just how she continues on as well with all these different degrees and majors that she's involved in because she just doesn't understand college. Like anyone who's that many majors is wow, too many.
Uh, let me tell you this. My college courses were like just two majors, film and education, and there are people who couldn't even handle that. So 6 majors, good luck.
Also, people are going to be really upset with us if we don't mention it in this episode. So we need to mention it. Scorpio wrapping Catra up in the blanket.
Yeah, that's wholesome. That's so wholesome.
People will be very upset if we don't mention that, so it's now been mentioned. That's great. So there, you're welcome. It is the most wonderful and adorable thing. And the fact that Catra at first doesn't like it, but eventually just kind of says, "All right, fine, I'm in this, whatever," and just accepts it. But again, like, that's a nice moment, and that's kind of where you see, and it's nice to see like Scorpia getting through to Catra in that little moment as well, and them having that bit of closeness. And then you realize, like, Hordak's little minion robot thing is listening in, and that definitely, like, well, there's that moment ruined.
Yep. So overall, like I said, fun episode on its own. Shouldn't have been a season finale.
It's an episode that ends with us learning more about, like, we had a little bit of the signal before, and, like, from the signal that we received back in the episode Signals, we learned in episode 6 that Adora, Bo, and Glimmer find out that the signal just says Mara's name and Serenia and Portal. That's all they get from it. And so we go into episode 7, and Bo goes back to his dad's in order to find out more about the signal, hopefully, because Bo's dads have studied a lot of the first one stuff. Like, they have the biggest collection of anything on the first ones. And it's, in this episode, again, more setup-wise, they decipher the code, and, we find out, hey, in order to find the source of the signal, we have to go to the Red Waste. And that sets us up for season 3. And our next big adventure and
so that
mystery.
So we go on to season 3, episode 1.
Well, we should mention, like, we have at the finale as well, like, again, Hordak finds out that Catra lost Shadow Weaver, and she's in trouble, to say the least. And Catra's now in the same position Shadow Weaver was in, locked up.
Yep. That is indeed the case.
And that's when we go straight into season 3.
So this actually starts on a very heavy note, where we see Shadow Weaver, on Adora's, in Adora's room, being like powerless and stuff, and it's like, bro, what, already I'm like, what is going on? What's happening in here? I want to find out.
Yeah, we see Shadow Weaver is in Bright Moon. She is betraying the Horde and trying to help the rebellion, but she will only talk to Adora. I love the fact that, you have Angela and, what is her name? The lady who leads the wizards, the spell people. What is her name? Does it say it?
What's her name? You mean the old lady, right?
Yeah, no, not Madame Raza. The King Micah's sister, I believe.
I'm not sure.
Aunt. I forget her name. She leads Mystic
I don't remember myself.
Castaspella.
Castaspella. Okay.
God damn it, these fucking names.
Yeah, I think
so easy to remember, and then I forget them, and then I read them again. And we had a thing about this on Castaspella before.
I think we talked about
it, and then I read it again, and it's like, God dang it,
Castaspella.
I hate these names, and I love them all at the same time.
Okay.
But yeah, I love the fact that Angela and Castaspella don't want Shadow Weaver to meet, Adora, because they're trying to protect her.
Yeah,
they care for her. I love the fact that you kind of see this relationship grow from them.
And also, it is kind of bad to, let the person who, kind of made the king disappear and made Adora grow up in the Horde and everything, see Adora. There are other reasons for this, but you can also tell that they legit care for Adora.
Yeah, like, they're trying to protect her from someone who definitely abused, and especially emotionally and mentally abused Adora, right? Like they're trying to protect her from that. That's great. I love that. But I also love the fact that we do see a change in Adora at this point. We see that Adora no longer sees the Horde as completely black and white. That she is willing to try and see like maybe they can change, because she even says that about Shadow Weaver, someone she should have very little, if any, care for. You see Adora come in and say like, hey, maybe there is something good deep, deep, deep down in Shadow Weaver, and that maybe she can change. I like that. It's still she's still cautious around her. She still doesn't trust her because of what Shadow Weaver put her through, but she's willing to still try and give that chance. I like that. I like the change in Adora that we've seen and the growth that we see from her here. But as to what you talked about earlier, this is the episode where it is revealed that Adora
Yeah,
was the
I kind
first
of
one.
I confused the two episodes, but this is indeed the episode where we find out that Adora is actually a first one, and she arrived on the planet as a baby,
Through a portal that
and
Hordak created.
yeah, and this and this is something. Do you have anything to say about this, or can we or can we smoothly segue into the next one?
I'm going to ruin your smooth segue, I guess. I like the fact that Adora runs to Light Hope, and Light Hope's the one who, gives her the truth of the matter and everything. And
Yeah,
that we see once more, like, Adora gets very emotional about it, which is understandable, completely so, because she's like, can she go back? Can she go back to her family? Did she even have a family? Was she, how was she taken? All of that. Very emotional about it. So many questions and so many thoughts running through her head.
yeah.
And Adora leaves, and Light Hope's like, it's happening again. It's Mara all over again. I love the fact that we're still kind of putting Mara as that bad guy.
Mhm.
But yeah, overall, like a good first episode to this season.
Yeah, like after all, this was a very good, it's like okay, I'm interested. I want to see what's going on.
Like this, I
Let's.
think heavily sets the tone for this season going forward. Like
Mhm.
heavy stuff in this season.
Yep. And the heavy stuff continues in episode 2, Hantara, again with the wonderful names, where we actually find Hordak's motivation, where he's actually a defective clone of Horde Prime,
Mm-hmm.
an alien who actually, and Hordak was accidentally teleported to Ateria, and he's trying to conquer it in order to show Horde Prime that he is worth something.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, this I like this for two reasons. One, it does ground Hordak as
Mm-hmm.
like from like the main powerful villain. Now we know why he's doing this, but at the same time, even though he's very powerful and we see his power and what he accomplished, you can still see that he answers to someone, but at the same time, despite being a defective clone and everything, he's not necessarily a goof off. He does have legit threat to him,
I mean, he's
and so.
he's a defective clone in the fact that he is slowly dying.
Mhm.
And I love the fact that you have Entrapta, that he tells Entrapta this, like it's Entrapta who finds out all this. I mean, it's probably the closest Hordak's ever been with someone before, right?
Yeah,
Like no
because
one before
I'm
Entrapta
not
has he
sure.
been this close with, and probably willing to reveal that much, because it's Entrapta who improves Hordak's life-sustaining armor.
Mhm. Because I'm not necessarily sure like if Shadow Fever if Shadow Weaver no knew that about Hordak's backstory before this.
I mean, she definitely knew
So.
about Horde Prime and his army, but I don't know if she knew that Hordak was a defective clone or anything like that. Hard
Mhm.
to say.
And in return, Entrapta actually improves, his life, the armor that keeps him alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And they
and
just continue to grow closer.
yeah, and again, I like this. I like this. People are probably ship them, and you know what, head, but ship or not, this is a good relationship. I
It's a good
like this.
dynamic. It's a really good
Yeah,
dynamic, and it's a dynamic of. I wouldn't look at it romantically. I guess you can, and in some ways, maybe there's hints of that, but I think it's
Wolf,
definitely.
Wolf, Wolf. People will ship everything that
Oh,
has
I
a good
know.
dynamic. And
I know.
You know what? I'm going to Google this right now just to prove my point. Hold on.
You're gonna regret it. And before it
Entrapta
finds
and
Rule 34.
so do you want to continue while there you go? Google already gives it to me.
And before you find Rule 34.
Okay, thank God. And let's see. Okay, you know what? There are actually some cute. There's actually one that's
I'm
really
sure there
cute
are.
here.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
The point is, getting away from the romantic side of it. I think it's definitely more of a meeting of minds and two people who are very much, exceptionally smart, right? Coming together and seeing one another slowly as equals and taking the ability to learn from each other, right? And just growing closer in that meeting of minds way, I guess you would say, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
look,
like.
there are them. That's adorable.
You're just busy looking at Google Images now.
And oh my God, I
Hello, HC. I think we truly
what?
lost him, folks. I mean, you broke up there.
Oh, and it was right when I admitted that I actually found Rule 34 and I immediately closed the tab.
I told you you would. I told you. You
it
never
was
look
obvious.
it up. You never look
It
it
was
up. Ever.
Yeah,
If
well,
there's
I
ever
tried.
a ship, you never look it up. You will guaranteed find Rule 34. It may not be the first hit, but it will be a hit. You either have to block it or just accept that it's there. Because it's there. Because people, it's the internet. The internet has no tame, HC.
The only bad thing about this is that my reaction to it wasn't cut live because oh boy. But okay, whatever. Going on with the.
I
We
like the
talked about
dynamic between Hordak and Entrapta. But moving on, there's another new character reveal this episode.
Which is Huntara. Again, don't you love these names?
And we find out that the Crimson Waste is inhabited. But yeah, Huntara. Great name. Continuing on the streak.
And Huntara, again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I watched anything, but like they kind of hire her as a guide to navigate the desert, and at one point she and Adora kind of have this rivalry between them until Huntara finds out that Adora is actually Shira.
And Huntara, eventually, I mean, they don't. It's less she finds out they're Shira, and it's more just Huntara leads them into a trap regardless, and steals Adora's sword because you don't trust anyone in the Crimson Waste. First rule of the Crimson Waste, right?
Yep. But
I
then
like the dynamic between Huntara and Adora because it's very much Adora sees kind of a kindred spirit, if you will, someone she can look up to who's everything she kind of wanted to be when she was in with the Horde, and even now, kind of everything she still wants to be, right? This amazing badass of a person. And I kind of like, again, I just like and enjoy the dynamic that they have and share before Huntara betrays them. And even after Huntara betrays them, right? Like, they still have this, really unique dynamic between the two of them, and the both of them grow very close.
And no, I'm not going to look for out during this.
I mean, they'll ship, as you said, people will ship anything and every one, and I'm sure there's R34 of all of it. But
yeah, Adora and Light Hope for Rule 34. Come at me. I'm kidding.
But eventually, Huntara and Adora end up working together, and we find out that Huntara is also a deserter from the Horde, just like Adora is, and was also disillusioned by their evil actions. And so Huntara joins them, and they reach their destination of Mara's ship. In scene.
Yep. And this leads us to Once Upon a Time in the Waste, which is not a spin-off of Once Upon a Time, thank God.
A lot of princesses in that show too, though.
Let's not talk about the Frozen plots. I thank you very much.
But this is Catra and Scorpion's
Actually, since I mentioned that, I would just tell a friend who may or may not be listening to this. Frozen 2 cancelled any chances of being low. Eat that. Thank you and good night.
You broke up. You want to repeat that?
Bah, God damn it. The internet hates that I'm right. Anyway, Frozen 2 cancelled every chances of the Once Upon a Time plot ever being canon to the Frozen lore. Eat that. Thank you and good night.
Fair enough. But this is our entrance of Catra and Scorpia into the Crimson Waste.
Yes.
Because this is where Catra was banished to after failing and losing Shadow Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
But she was only
And one
banished
thing,
here thanks to the help of Entrapta last episode.
yeah, and one thing I actually like is that while Catra has been banished, she tells Scorpia that she was actually sent there on a mission,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something I do find interesting. That because you can kind of tell that even Scorpia really likes Catra and she wants to be her friend and everything. Catra has no problem lying to Scorpia, and just so that she would do what she wants.
Because Catra doesn't see her as an equal, right? Like, Scorpia wants to be Catra's friend, but Catra doesn't want that. At least not at this moment. She's still busy pushing everyone away because she thinks she can't trust anyone anymore. Because everyone
Mm-hmm.
she could trust or she thought she could trust, has deserted her. Again, like going back to season 1, where we see that moment of, Adora's promise to Catra and Adora potentially having forgotten that promise, and Catra
Yes.
never forgetting that promise, because that promise was pretty much everything to Catra. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
you can see the hurt there. You can see the pain that she's been going through.
Indeed.
And again,
And
it's
that
what makes Catra such a lovable character, even though like, gosh darn it, I wish this girl could just be
I'm
happy.
not. Yeah, I'm not sure if lovable. I know what you mean, but lovable, I don't think the word. Maybe
You want to
intriguing.
hug her. You want to give her
Yeah.
a hug and tell her everything will
Eh,
be okay.
Actually, if I may quote one of my friends' Discord messages, and of course she's not online, so I can't read it. But it's something along the lines of, "Katra could step on me, and I'll be completely okay with it."
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
But yeah,
but
we.
what the this really makes you laugh, huh? You
I
are
mean, I know
you're
that
really
type of person. Step on me,
Mhm.
mommy, ooh woo.
Okay. I didn't expect to hear that sentence, but okay. Moving
I
on.
know that type of
uh,
person. I've seen them
okay.
before.
Mhm. So moving on, the part that I find really interesting about this episode, that again, Katra is great, and I saw a lot of things, but the part that's really interesting is that in the ship, inside Mara's ship, we see a message where Mara tried using the sword to teleport Ateria into the dimension.
Well, she didn't try. She
Suppose,
did.
yeah, and the thing is that Adora kind of gets a warning to not create another portal, and
Mm-hmm.
that also kind of makes you. And again, this is one of those things that what kind of Shira Mara was, because you know you can kind of make the sense, because the reason Mara created the teleportivia is supposedly to defend it,
Mm-hmm. To
but
save it
then
and to save
yeah, but then
countless other lives potentially. So, like, I love this
mhm,
because this entire time we've been led to believe that Mara was, quote unquote, a villain, right? That she did terrible
mhm.
things as Shira, that she wasn't a good Shira, that she ruined
and
everything
again
as
you
Shira.
know and again, Adora being warned to not do what Mara did also kind of enforces it,
Mm-hmm.
that this was wrong, and this is why Mara is kind of being shown as a bad Shiva. But at the same time, considering considering her reason, maybe she did have a point. Maybe she wasn't all bad, but it was just the way that made the first ones look at her so
Well,
with such a disdain.
I love how, right, like, through all of that, like Adora's told that very little about Mora, just that she was evil. She, did terrible things to She-Ra, and Adora very quickly accepts that, right? She's very. I love that, that plays into that very black and white nature of the way Adora sees things. She's very much willing to accept. Okay, she was evil. Fine, fair enough. And again, like you see this growth continuing for Adora, where things aren't black and white, just black and white, and just good and evil, and that's it. And she learns here once again that her viewpoint of Mara, where Mara caused all these issues and troubles and problems, that wasn't the case. That Mara may have actually had good intentions for what she did, and that
Mm-hmm.
maybe Adora was wrong in her thinking and wrong in how she viewed things. And I love how that affects her, right? Like she once again she has this ideal in her head of how things should be shattered once more. I love that they keep
Yep.
doing this to her. Yeah, again, I wish Catcher would be able to smile and want to hug her, but yeah, keep hurting Adora. No, again, Adora needs a hug too. But yeah, I love that you have Adora with this major flaw of only being willing to see things in black and white, constantly being shown like that's not the way you should look at things. That there are there's two sides to every story, right?
Yep.
I enjoy that. And then
Mm-hmm.
again we have Catcher at the end come in and catch Adora and the gang, and Adora tells Hantara, "Hey, get Glimmer and Bow out of here." And Adora's left with Catra, and Catra has the sword.
Yes.
And we should mention
So
Catra taking on Tongue Lasher and beating him, and and her and Scorpia just having some good moments together, and growing closer. It's nice.
yeah, we mentioned this at the start of the
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean, just
episode.
kind of mentioning some more specific things. Just seeing Catra in her element and just being happy is nice.
Yeah,
It's a nice
and
little thing.
and it is nice that after having our time with Katra and then finding out all the stuff about Mara, it is fun to like see both plot lines actually connect at the end, and
Mm.
Katra actually find out that Shadow Weaver is alive in Bright Moon, and
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 seeing
then also
that,
manage, yeah, and also managing to capture Adora while Hantara, Bow, and Glimmer manage to escape.
but specifically talking about the Shadow Weaver thing and just how much that affects Catra in that moment right there, where all of that happiness she had before, right, just immediately shattered. And you can
Mhm.
see, like, I would definitely say this, if anything, is the major turning point for Catra, where she decides, screw everything. I don't care what happens anymore. I want to get back at everyone who's hurt me. Whatever that
Yes.
means, whatever that takes. Even if she has to destroy the world to do it, that's what she'll do.
Hmm.
It's like I love this turn,
And this
and
and
it's at the
this leads
very end of
us.
this episode. It's nothing major. There's no, it's not really built up. It's just she's just given some news that just immediately breaks her. I love that.
Yep,
Very well done, in my opinion.
indeed, agreed. And this leads us to episode 4, which picks
You're breaking
up
up
right.
very badly right now. You've gone very, very
Uh,
robot.
so keep talking about the episode.
Okay, Ichi's gonna go for a bit. It seems. Moment of Truth, episode 4 for season 3. Moment of Truth. Catra returns with Adora to the Fright Zone and presents the sword as the key needed to open Hordak's portal. And then we have Glimmer, Bow, and Hantara returning to Bright Moon, as well
Okay,
as. Hello,
I'm back.
you're back. Hello, welcome back.
What did you do?
You're still breaking up pretty badly.
Seriously?
Yeah,
How was
no, you're still bad. Very, very
oh, for the
bad.
love of
I don't
okay.
think it's anything on my end.
So seconds maybe the
No, you're
hold
still
up,
very,
but
very
keep
robot.
going into
Very
meanwhile.
robot HC. um, okay, he's gone again. We'll see if he comes back in a bit. Looking at episode 4, this is when we see Glimmer align with Shadow Weaver in order to in order to try and save Adora and defeat the Horde again and all of that. And we have this major plan of them attacking the Horde base again a second time, and it's all really well set up and done. There's not anything major. It's just a lot of, hey, please don't open the portal. Things are going to go very badly if you do. And Adora trying to reason with Entrapta and Hordak not to do so. And you continue to see Entrapta and Hordak's relationship kind of form a little bit more and a little bit more. And like I said, you have Glimmer and Shadow Weaver working together in order to save Adora, which is a neat little thing. And then you have, once more, you see like just Catra just slowly just deteriorating more and more and more as this goes on, right? Because you see, hello,
Can you?
hello, are you back?
Yeah. Can you? I'm back.
You're still breaking up somewhat, but you do seem to be a little bit better, maybe.
Oh, let's
Nope, still bad.
standing. What?
Still
So
bad.
I don't know. Maybe
Still very bad. Technical difficulties here on the Outcast, ladies and gentlemen. We may not be able to finish this show. Who knows? Um. Thoughts. Yeah, just overall, this is a good episode that really gets us into the final 2 episodes of this season. Nothing too major goes on here, other than just again seeing Catra just breaking down further and further and really turning on Entrapta. Like, I think that's the major moment for this episode, seeing Catra and turn on Entrapta and betray her and lie to Hordak about it, Entrapta and her betraying Hordak when she didn't do that. And Scorpius seeing just how far Catra's starting to fall as well after everything that's happened.
I was.
Hello, are you back once more?
Well, yeah.
Now you're still breaking up a lot.
So it's probably something on your end. I
No, my
tried switching.
everything's fine on my end. Like, I'm getting perfect connection and everything as far as I can tell.
So I don't know.
Hey, you seem to be
Okay,
good right now. Go ahead, keep talking. We'll
Okay.
see. You seem to be good right
Okay.
now, other than your voice is a little
I
muffled.
I switch mics and earplugs, so maybe that's the reason.
Maybe you definitely seem to be okay now.
Okay. So basically, what episode are we at?
We're
So
still,
far?
I was just finishing up 4.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
So it is starting to become this is like the point where but if you want to get technical, starting with this until the end, these last 3 episodes are kind of like connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the start of it that Katra brings Adora in, and because the sword is the key to the portal, and there's the entire thing. Should they turn the portal on or not? And everyone is coming there to try and save Adora, and Glimmer and Shadow Weaver actually working together. That's really cool. And then the episode ends with the portal basically activating and wiping everything out. And so just a great episode, honestly.
Well, the portal doesn't happen until episode 6, but sure.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I get you.
It does give you because the portal is activated and stuff stuff is being sucked in, and that leads us to episode 5.
Oh yeah, no, I'm dumb. You're right. I wasn't thinking. Yeah, the portal is activated in this episode, and shit goes wrong, and that leads us into episode 5, as you said. Remember, which is everything's different. The doors, Adora awakens in the fright zone, living the wife.
This is this
Okay.
this is an episode that's been done in several shows where like the what if one moment in time was different, and this is like kind of like what if Adora never really left the Horde,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like the perfect world where Catra and Adora's relationship is stronger than ever, and everything is all hunky dory, but there's something missing. And then when Adora and Catra leave the Horde, stuff is going down.
Mm-hmm. I love that, in this episode, we see Adora working with many different people. Like, you see Adora working with um, Scorpia at first to try and get to the portal machine and deactivate it, and what she thinks would help, or where she thinks the portal machine might be at, and stuff like that. And then you see Adora try and get Catra to help her, but Catra doesn't. And as she tells Catra more and more, Catra, you know, realizes that, this is the world that she wanted, but Adora's once again trying to take that from her.
Yeah.
Or what she feels is like trying to take that from her. And I love how you see them fighting in the same way they fought in the first episode, except this time it's not something playful, it's something very much, you know, Catra wants to destroy the world.
Yep. And
And
this
Catra willingly lets go, of their friendship instead of trying to, rectify the catastrophe.
Yeah, and you can also kind of tell that in a sense because one of the things that's constantly happening is that the world is being sucked into the portal, like it becomes white, and it starts and the ground starts disappearing, and you could probably argue that if Adora lets the stuff disappear, she's like given into Catra's demands, into Catra's wants, and she doesn't want that because she knows something is just not right. This is not how it's meant to be, and Catra is trying to get her to believe, no, this is what you need to do. And also, when the episode ends with Adora going to find Bow and Glimmer in this universe,
Well, that's
Catra
episode
is
6. But this episode,
no, no,
episode
no,
5.
no. The ending is after Adora meets Madame Raz.
Well, yeah,
She tells
the
her,
finale for the season is, but episode 5 ends with Adora meeting Madame Raz. And she goes out to
but
seek
that's what I
Glimmer
mean.
and Bow, but
Yeah,
she
but
doesn't
yeah,
find
that's what
them
I
until the
mean.
next
She's
episode.
going to search them, not
Okay,
that
yeah,
she
I get
meets
you.
them.
I
That's
get
the
you now.
next episode.
Okay, I get you.
What I meant is that when she's about to go meet them after talking to Madame Raz, Catra is planning on stopping her,
Yeah, we
which
see
doesn't.
Catra come out of the portal stuff being half mutated by it,
Yes.
which is
By the
interesting.
way, that was actually a really cool design, if I may add.
I've been told that might be a reference to the whole magic hats thing with Catra from the old
If
She-Ra,
you
but
say,
I have no clue. Like, I don't
if
know
you
enough about
say
old She-Ra. Like,
so.
old Catra from the old She-Ra could transform into a cat, quote unquote, right? But I don't know quite all of the stuff behind
You
that.
you got me there. I have no
Fair
idea.
enough. I don't really know 100% either. Other people in the comments feel free to chime in, but I've been told that that might have been a reference to that, considering the design that Catra takes on partially,
If you
resembling
say so.
somewhat the transformation she had in the old She-Ra. At least
If you
color
say
scheme
so.
wise, anyways. But anyways, yeah. Moving on, episode 6, The Portal.
The portal. So this is what I'm talking about when I say a good season finale, because oh boy.
So we
Ooh,
get
boy.
to the perfect world version of Bright Moon, where King Mike is still alive and Bo never became a rebellion person. He's, a librarian still. And we have Glimmer with both of her parents still alive and, not partaking in the rebellion either. And both of them have been very shielded, right? Very
Yeah.
protected from it all.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, like I like that perfect world version. That what, maybe it would actually be better to have this world, even if it's not correct, because Bo and Glimmer, Glimmer has both of her parents. Bo isn't forced to fight. It's just, it's a good world, and then all of a sudden Adora shows up and says, "No, it's not right." And I do like that, Bo and Glimmer don't know her, but they do have this lingering feeling that they might know her.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of the type of episode that's been done before in other shows, but I like how it was done here. And it does lead you to, um, it does lead to like a powerful ending, which I like.
I mean, even Angela in this episode, right? Even she, like, Glimmer's mother, realizes that having King Micah alive, while an amazing and enjoyable thing, and that she would never love, she doesn't want to give up. She eventually does say, like, I have to give this up because this isn't real. This isn't the real you. This isn't what really happened. This is all fake. Like, I
I,
love that.
on that note, I do want to. There is one problem I have with this episode, but it's kind of near the end.
I mean,
So
we are moving very quickly. The three seek out Entrapta, who tells them that someone has to close the portal, but whoever does so will be trapped forever when they do so.
mhm.
And, as reality collapses further, Glimmer and Bo eventually end up disappearing as well, and then Adora has to fight Catra. And I love this moment because you see Catra, like, throwing out basically everything Adora fears, that she's at fault for it
Yeah.
all, that if she had never been here, maybe things wouldn't have been going the way they're going currently, if she had never
Mhm.
picked up the sword. And you hear and you hear Adora, after being thrown all these fears at her face, she eventually says, "No, none of it's my fault. It's not my fault you ended up the way you did, Catra."
Yeah,
And she
that
punches her. And it's like,
yeah.
it's very much, I think it's a very healthy thing to finally say, like, hey, Catra, you've made these choices yourself. I didn't force you to make them.
Yeah, that's a good moment. And yeah, but this entire setup for a climax of a finale, this is great. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the wall collapsing in, under them, around them, and then you get this, one-on-one fight between these two once friends, now rivals. This is great.
And you see how,
And
Catra having made the choice to try and destroy everything, you see now Adora finally accepting, like, hey, you're not the same person I remember. You're not, what you're doing is wrong, and you need to accept that you made this choice. I didn't force you to make it. I love this. It's really great from Adora here. A lot of great character growth and just this one
And
moment, I feel.
jumping a bit ahead, this is like a very minor thing, but I think that Adora's scream of "For the honor of Grayskull," out of all the times we heard this in the show, I like the one at the end of this episode the most.
Mm. Well, I mean, we
Because
could go right into it. You're not skipping ahead too much because after their fight, the ground starts breaking away from Adora, and underneath Adora and Catra fades into the portal finally, becoming portal magic dust stuff, and Angela
yeah,
comes in to save Adora right at the last minute.
this is actually my problem with this. That I'm not sure. Maybe it was explained and I missed it, but we basically see the other characters quote unquote die in this. Like we see Glimmer and Bow disappearing. We see Catra disappear. We see all of them disappear. But then when Adora comes back, all of them are safe and sound. What makes this case different? Like, what makes her disappear for good?
Right. Well, I mean, it was explained. Entrapta did say that anyone who went into the portal to try and close it would be trapped in the portal forever between realities. And
Okay,
very clear, like,
so
Angela's the one who Adora was going to. Angela stops her and tells her no. I love the talk that Angela gives here. Talking about how she's always
yeah,
been a
I like it
coward
too.
and
But I think looking back, I watched this a bit before going to sleep, so maybe I was a bit tired and I missed it. So
hmm,
my bad.
that's fair.
But okay, in that I do like the talk she gives to Adora, and that she does realize that Adora is from another quote unquote universe,
Well,
where stuff,
from another place, anyways.
you know what I mean,
Hmm.
that she's from an alternate timeline, let's say this, and she
I
does
don't
the
know about that,
listen
but
when you go back, take care of Glimmer, take care of everyone. You can do this. And like I said, the time Adora screams for the honor of Grayskull at the end of this feels like she finally realizes what it means to be Shira,
Hmm.
and I like that. That's a great
I
moment
agree.
for her.
It's she finally has something she needs to and wants to protect more than anything, and wants to set
Mm-hmm.
right. And she's finally experienced like major loss as well as that. Losing Angela. Yeah, and I know like these two characters may not have been super connected and had a ton of different interactions with one another that can really sell this moment. But I think even despite that, it's still sold very well, right? Like you can
Yeah,
feel, Angela, Glimmer's mom, how much Adora has changed her and how much Adora's changed a lot of things and how much good Adora has done. And I think she needs to hear that in that moment when it's very clear that Adora's doubting a lot of the good that she has done at this point,
mm-hmm.
considering what it's all led to. But Angela tells her,
Yep.
no, remember, this is how much good you have done and how much you have changed. You're still needed. More so than anything, you're still needed. I've I've had my time here. I've done everything I can. Maybe it's time for me to do the one thing I've never been able to do, and that's be brave and stand up and do something. I like this. It's very good stuff from Angela here, and that's the last we see of Angela. After this point, she is gone,
Indeed.
supposedly.
And then
And,
with
then we see Adora come through the portal at the very end, and everything's back to normal. I love the look that Adora gives Catra, and Catra just being afraid of that look in a way. Like,
yeah,
like that's
like
the ending of a relationship there almost.
mhm. Yeah, that's
Like you can tell that, you know, it almost seems like Catra remembers what happened to her in that kind of alternate universe in a way.
yeah,
She
it's
still
like
has some lingering feeling
she
of something.
mhm.
And I
Yeah, it's
love the
like
fact that,
mm,
oh, go ahead.
I said it's like she still knows exactly what happened in that portal. She knows that Adora doesn't necessarily see that Adora would never let her have what she wants. So
At least a lingering feeling of it, anyways, because you have this
mhm,
moment of Catra very much, or not so much Catra, but Adora, like, accepting, like, hey, you've pushed too far at this point, right?
yeah,
Like you've pushed way too far at this point.
indeed,
You've passed that line now.
yep. So with that said, the portal is closed. Everything kind of goes back to the status quo, except for the fact that Glimmer has no mother, and as
Mm-hmm.
princess, she needs to take over as queen.
And we finally end off with Horde Prime with seeing just a glimpse of Horde Prime and the
Yeah.
interdimensional and an interdimensional disruption.
hmm Like again, yeah, like you said, we get a bit of a peek at him as the season ends,
Mm-hmm.
and we are left waiting for season 4, which is already out, but we'll only cover it in a week because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Overall, a very when watched together as one whole, something that's very enjoyable. I feel. I would
hmm
love to hear, as I said earlier, the thoughts of people in the comments below. What was it like to watch season 2 and then have to wait for 3 or so months for season 3? Was that
Yeah, I'm
bad? Was
curious
that
about this too.
okay? Or somewhere in the middle, maybe.
So, but with these questions and thoughts, that's been all for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed. What are your thoughts on seasons 2 and 3 of Shira? Did you watch them all combined, or did you watch season 2 when it premiered and then had to wait until season 3?
I feel sorry
Whatever,
for you if you
whatever.
did.
Yeah. Whatever happened, we would be interested to hear your thoughts. So, and you can tell us all about them in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C. And until next time, when we cover season 4, I was HC.
And I've been Wolf.
And we will talk to you all next time when we finish up Shira for now. So, with the honor of Grayskull, take care.
Boo. Bye bye.